just have that slow burn. They build up over time and then they become like fan favorites and they start getting those subreddit cult followings and everything like that. And so now they really grow into something. And that's what I love about horror as a genre, because it's one of the few genres that really do that. The other genres, if you're not a big box office or you're not like kind of or you do something like what's Jordan Peele's first movie, Get Out, where you're made for 5 million and you make like 300 or whatever, those are the only things people really know about. But with horror, like I said, something came out in 1985 and people just keep talking about it.
The most wonderful fan base, man, the horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
Most loyal, wonderful, wonderful people, man. The horror mutants, is hell, I'm one of them. It's awesome to be on the other side of it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fans are just they're just great, and when they love it, man, they love it forever.
And not only that, I think that the horror fans are some of the most informed fans. Like, they really understand the genre a lot of times. And so if you make a subtle reference to maybe like another killer or another movie or something like that, a lot of times they pick up on that. And that becomes part of the whole fun as well, is there's a lot of fan service in that genre, which is, again, just makes everybody feel like they're part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So how much fun is it to play the bad guy? Because I know you've acted, you've been the good guy, you've been, the friend of the good guy, you've been in like all these different roles and everything. So how fun is it to actually be the good guy? Because again, in my very limited experience, roles where you really get to go for something like that and go to somewhere just ridiculous in a lot of ways is the most fun.
It's great, man. To play the bad guy is incredible because you can. Well, I mean, there are no rules. There are no rules when you're the bad guy. I mean, obviously there are lines you can't cross or whatever, but as long as you really believe whatever terrible thing you're doing is the right thing to do, it's actually a lot of fun because it's fantasy, and this shit ain't real, and it's fun to pretend for a little while. And Haunt was a lot of fun. I mean, I spent most of the time behind the mask, but a lot of good chemistry develops with the cast, even with me under the mask. I thought, and it's the same reason that I said I grew up loving horror, and Freddy Krueger was like my hero. So all I could hope to do was provide what he instilled on me, which is personality is everything in a bad guy. Yes, just because they're bad don't mean that you can't like them. You don't have to hate the bad guy, not every time.
Yeah, the
so
love-hate relationship.
Yes, like you hate that you love him so much, you hate him, but you want another movie. You're like, okay, bring him back to life, let's do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make some shit up, bring him back to life, it'll be fine.
So let me nerd out for a second.
So it's awesome just to play that aspect of it, like the movie monster. So I ate that up, man. I had an absolute blast with it.
Dude, that's awesome. And I think some of the best work comes from when you're actually enjoying it as well. Obviously, you hear some of the horror stories about different actors on different sets and they hated it and they still were able to get good work out of it. But I do think that when there's joy in the work, that's where it really shines through as well. And I love watching performances like that. So
it always makes me feel good to know that, like, what I'm watching, or know that the people that made the movie, had a really good time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that you can always tell if the vibe was good because it translates in the film. Sometimes if people just can't get along, the movie feels that way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this feels like this, some pieces didn't come together here. So-and-so was difficult, or, you end up with Batman Forever.
I love watching, again, this genre is pretty cliche, if you will, in a lot of ways, but I love watching rom-coms where you can tell that they didn't like each other. That is my favorite, because they still have to write that ending where they get together, but you're like, oh, they hate each other. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
this
much
movie,
fun.
like, the selling point of a romantic comedy is chemistry between your two leads, and they just can't stand each other.
Oh, it's great.
Like, oh man, this is going to be a train wreck.
I love it. But throwing back to something you said a second ago, because I grew up also a big fan of Freddy Krueger. You know, Robert Englund, the actor who played him. I love when he shows up and stuff, not in makeup, because you can tell there's so few people who recognize him. But I'm like, every time, I'm like, immediately, I'm like, oh, that's Robert Englund. That's awesome. But did you see the movie, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Behind the Mask?
Oh yeah, yeah, Behind the Mask. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm set to do a convention next September with the guy that plays Leslie Vernon, Nathan Basil.
Oh my God, dude, that movie again. We're going back to the concepts of the movie. They did a great job in the film and the production and everything like that. But just the concept of it alone was amazing to me. And then when you go and you watch the film and they break it down that way, and it gets to I think the third act or whatever, and it flips from like documentary style to like, dude, beautiful. I freaking love that movie. It's incredible.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I enjoyed that one too. It's super like really like meta, like kind
Hmm.
of for a little heavily meta for my taste ordinarily. But the Scott Wilson, the old serial killer,
Hmm.
the old guy, when they like go see him and they're drinking beers together and
Yeah. Oh
stuff, and
yeah.
like that right there just fascinated me. I'm like, God damn, like, this is gnarly. Like, and I'd also heard some rumor that he was actually the character, supposed to be the character from the original Black Christmas,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. Great movie
Billy,
too.
or like he was
Yeah.
Billy all grown up. I'm like, oh man. Like that's yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I thought Nathan Basil was fantastic.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah, he really stole the show, man. He did a hell of a job.
Well, I think one of the favorite things from that he did in that performance is he, again, for the majority of the time when he's playing that character, even though he's a murderer, he's very lighthearted, he's very playful and stuff like that. But then there's a couple of times when you see that that's a veneer, and then like he shines through a little bit with his psychopathic rage or whatever, and you're like, oh, and like just playing those juxtapositions of emotions are beautiful, man. Like I said, I really really enjoy that movie. And then, again,
Uh,
it's a movie probably most people haven't heard of, but I love that film, and I try to
yeah, and
introduce it
I
to
think I
people.
think real genre fans
Yeah,
definitely know that one, man. Yeah,
yeah,
it's.
yeah. And it's, but those are
I
one of
mean,
those
hell,
movies
at one point he like he's like before the slaughter set to begin, he's like crying tears of joy
yeah.
about how happy he is. I'm like, this is wild. He's like, I'm so happy.
Dude, it's incredible. Like I said, from start to
Yeah, that was
finish, the
good
way they did
stuff,
it was
man.
great. So,
Yeah, totally.
oh man, thanks for checking out Starting Nowhere. Come find us on Facebook so you can comment on this and other clips and episodes of Starting Nowhere.